Hey guys, welcome back to the workbench. Today is another episode of the O-scale Kadee coupler, and I will show you how to convert a 3-rail claw type coupler car to a Kadee car. Now this is a Pecos River Brass car. I bought it off of eBay. It was supposedly a brand new car, mint in the box. It's obviously not. I'll show you that. We'll all take a look at that and you can see that it's not. And it has a pair of Atlas trucks. This is an Atlas Trainman car. Obviously it has Atlas trucks as well, and it's already been converted. So the two cars are very similar. They got the same trucks. We're going to have to get this claw off of here and also make room to mount the draft gearbox on here, because now that this coupler is body mounted, the coupler moves, not the truck. So we'll take a look at the trucks. I'll show you a couple different styles of trucks and how to remove the claw. And then I'll show you what it takes to get the Kadee mounted on there. Now another thing that I do when I do the Kadee conversion on all my cars is I check their weight. And I make sure that that weight is up to at least very close to the NMRA standard. The NMRA standard is you start with 5 ounces, and then for every inch of car you add an ounce for that inch. So let's take a quick measure on this first car. We'll turn the scale on. This is just a cheap postal scale I bought years ago. We'll set the car on here, see what we got. So we got 1 pound, 3.3 ounces. So you got 16, 19, almost 19 and a half ounces for this car. Now I said the standard was 5 plus 1 for every inch. So this car is, it's about 12 3/4 inches. I don't get that carried away with it, so I'll just call it 13. So we'll say 1 ounce for every inch. You got 13 plus the original 5. This car should weigh approximately 18 ounces per the NMRA standard. We're obviously over that by a bit, but I have a feeling we're going to get a lot closer to it once we remove all that metal from the bolster and the claw itself. The Kadees don't weigh nearly as much as those claws do. So once we get it all done, we'll put it back on the scale and see how close we are. If I needed to add weight, I use these stick-on wheel weights. Picked these up on Amazon or eBay a few years ago. I ended up with a box of them. This is all I have left of the box. These are 1/2 ounce weights. You can get 1/4, you can get 1 ounce. I just happened to get the best deal on 1/2 ounce weights. You can see each one is already cut. They have double-sided tape on the back, so you just score it with your knife or razor blade, snap off what you need. When you have the car apart, usually, depending on the car, the shell is already off. So we'll just take the weights and stick them on the frame of the car inside, right over the trucks. I usually keep the weight over the trucks just to help it track better. But my guess is this car's not going to get any weights. It's going to be pretty close to the 18 that we need, if not a little bit over. I'd rather have my cars a little bit overweight than underweight. Now I have this car in the cradle. It's upside down. You can obviously see that these trucks have been run quite a bit. I mean, they've been run so much that it's worn the black off, and you got silver stripes on these wheels now. So I'm not sure if these were the original trucks that came with this Pecos car or not. Doesn't really matter at this point, because I'm going to run them. They're going to get dirty. All that we're concerned about is removing this big hunk of steel from the truck itself and making room to fit the Kadee coupler in there. You can see it's got to come off in order for this to fit down in here. So we're going to take these off, Phillips screwdriver, I'll get both of these off and then I'll show you how they come apart. So now we have the trucks off the car. What I do is I take these 2 screws out of the bolster. There's 1 on each side. Take these out, don't lose them, because you're going to need them to put this back on. There's your 2 screws, and this whole thing comes off. You got the whole claw, the bolster in your hand. We'll take the other one apart. And now they're ready to go. Now, as I mentioned in my earlier videos, everybody has their own way of doing things and their own tools that they use. This just happens to be my way. This is a monster bench vise. This sucker probably weighs 40 pounds. I use it just because I have it, and the jaws happen to be a perfect fit. I just take the coupler, the bolster in here. Between the two little nubs, there's a nub here where they go down on the frames of the truck. I just put that in there, clamp it down a little bit. And I'll grab my cheap 20-year-old hacksaw and we'll just cut that right off. There you go. Claw is gone. Just like that. Now you could also take this and you could take this coupler off if you wanted to. Take the screw out of here. And the coupler comes off and now you have the bolster. If you buy Atlas 3-rail trucks by themselves in a box, this is normally how they come. This piece right here is on the truck, just like that. That's how they come. Now, most likely you have to remove this because you have to leave room to mount the Kadee coupler on the bottom of the car. And if you leave that piece on there, it's not going to fit. So this has to come off. Now you could take your Dremel, you could take various tools. You could, I guess if you had a big pair of dikes or side cuts, you could cut that off. But you saw I just dropped this thing in the vise, hit it with my hacksaw. So that's what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut this one off. Now this is another one of those steps that isn't necessary at all. I just do because I like things nice and neat, tidy. So if you didn't get your cut quite square on these bolsters, you left a few rough edges, I'll just knock that down with my bench grinder real quick and do both of them while I got it here. Square it up, hit it with the wire, knock the roughness off. That's good to go. Now sometimes when you cut this, you might actually cut through this, which I did right here. So this hole is not completely sealed anymore, but that's not a big deal. It's not going to affect the operation. It's still going to work. You'll still be able to mount this on your car. It'll never cause you any issues. They're nice and clean, nice and shiny. Just throw those knuckles away. We got our bolsters ready to go back on the truck. We'll put those back on. Then our trucks will be ready for the KDs, and then I'll show you how we're going to do the KDs. Okay, the bolsters are ready to go. They're cut, filed. Put those back on the trucks. It doesn't matter which way. They go on either way. We'll take our 4 screws, put those screws back on. Now your trucks are ready to accept some Kadee couplers. I got the Kadees already assembled. They're filed down, just like I showed you in part 1 of the video. They're ready to go. We're not going to screw them down because now we have to work with the Kadees, figure out what kind of spacers and shims we're going to need to get those couplers down to the right height. The couplers, getting them adjusted to the proper height, like I said in part 1 or part 2, that is where the time comes in this project. Doing these trucks, once you figured out what you need to do, you have a whole bunch of cars, you knock them out real quick. These are Lionel trucks. And they, you know, obviously come with the same claw. Now these I do a little bit different. I cut these with the Dremel tool in my fiberglass wheel. And 2 cuts, right across here, right across there, and the whole assembly drops out. You throw it in the trash. I don't have any that haven't been cut already because all my cars are already converted. But this is a Lionel truck, and you don't have to take it apart. Cut here, cut there. This thing's ready to go. The Atlas trucks you saw, we got to cut with the hacksaw or Dremel, get rid of that extra piece on the bolster to allow room for these Kadee boxes to slide in here, and the trucks still rotate. So now let's take a look at putting the spacers in there to get those couplers up. Now you'll notice that on this car and most cars, the insill sits farther down than the actual frame of the car. So we have a recess here. So when you go to put the Kadee coupler on, you have the lip on the front of the draft gearbox, and I want that lip to go right up to the insill of the car. And you can see that the coupler obviously is not level. So what I do is I experiment with a piece of styrene and bring that coupler up so it's level when you set it on there. Now I can't tell you, every car is the same. I can tell you that I used a 100,000th piece of styrene to do this car, and unless you have this specific Pecos River Brass car, then if you cut that spacer, it's not going to fit in your Atlas car, it's not going to fit in your MTH car, your Lionel car, whatever. So this is where the time comes in, is to find the spacer here to get this coupler level. And now I can also tell you that most likely when we put our trucks on here and we get out the Kadee coupler height gauge, we set this on the track with the gauge, that coupler is going to be way too high. So we're going to have to add some more shims, but I needed a base just to get down here so I can set this coupler level, mark the holes, and drill them. Now, like I showed you in part 1, I used a 3/32 drill bit, drill through the coupler so it's a slip through like that, and also with my spacer those holes are slip through. Now what I'll do is I'll set this spacer down on there, and with my center punch, my spring-loaded center punch, we'll get this exactly where I need it to be. Put that on there, hold on to my car, and mark it so I can drill it. And this frame of this car is metal, so I want a really good center punch there to keep that drill bit from floating around and keep my hole centered where I need it to be. So I'll go ahead and drill that hole out, and then we'll show you the next step. Okay, so it took me a couple minutes to drill that hole because I got about 4 drill bits that I've been using forever, and I need to buy some new ones because they get dull, especially when you're drilling metal car frames. So now I take my tap handle for my 256, put a little oil on the end there, and we'll tap this hole so I can use some machine screws. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this spacer back on here. I'll mark the next hole, I'll drill it, I'll tap it, and we'll come back after that. Okay, so I've made my spacer to bring the draft gearbox level to the end of the car. We got the 2 holes drilled for the draft gearbox. They're tapped for a 256 screw. I got the spacer in there, it's drilled. We got our 740 Kadee coupler. We're going to go ahead and attach this to the bottom of the car. I'm using 1/2-inch screws. It doesn't matter the length because these are going inside the car anyway. You're not going to see them, and it gives me lots of room to work with because I know I'm going to have to add some more spacers to this thing to get the coupler to drop back down. So the coupler's installed, it's secure, 2 screws, it's ready to go. You can put the trucks on here, and then we're going to check the coupler height with our Kadee gauge and see how much we need to adjust it. So I don't screw these trucks on yet. I just kind of set them on the track and then set the car down on top of it so we can check that out. So let's take a look how we did. We're actually not that far off. I'm kind of surprised. You can see the trip pin here and the gauge there. If we turn this around, you can see it's not too far off. I think we'll try a 40,000th spacer, see what that looks like. Go up here to the parts bin. Let's flip this around. Yeah, 40,000ths isn't going to be enough, so let's try, let's double that up and see what happens. Okay, let's just go to an 80. An 80,000ths, that might just do it. So we're going to go ahead and try cut some 80s and see what we get out of that, where our height comes out after that. Okay, so I didn't show you, this is the second time that I've done this. I didn't show you the 080 styrene because it was off. I cut an 080 spacer, I put it on there, drilled the holes, and it was still too high. So I took the car, I took it back off. I cut another spacer with 0.100 styrene, got it on there, and we're right where we need to be. The trip pin fits in the slot without hitting it. Top of the knuckles right here, flush with the gauge. Turn this around, our knuckles right on. So I have the 0.125 spacer that brings the draft gearbox flush to the bottom of the sill, the insill of the car, and then I use the 0.100 styrene to drop the coupler down to get the correct height for the Kadee coupler gauge. Now we got a perfect match. That end is ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this car back apart and I'm going to duplicate everything that I did here to the other end of the car. I'll make a 125 spacer, I'll drill the holes, I'll tap them, then I'll make a 100 spacer, drill those holes, and we'll mount the other coupler on the other end. And if I was doing 4 cars, 6 cars, all of Pecos River Brass, I would just make a whole bunch of these parts, drill all the holes, put them all together at the same time. Overall, this car is going to take me about an hour total, cutting the bolsters of the trucks, getting the spacers, assembling the couplers, drilling all the holes, about 1 hour. That sucks when you're doing a lot of cars. Unfortunately, that's about how long it takes. Now you could write down and make yourself a list. You know, PRB cars need a 100, 125, Lionel cars need an 80 and a 60, whatever. I haven't even taken my own advice. I haven't done that. It seems that every time I remember what I used before and I try it, it doesn't work. So I just do them on an individual basis, except for, you know, if I have 6 Lionel reefers, I'll do them all the same. Everything will get ready to go. Okay, so I pretty much got everything ready to go. The spacers, they were 2 pieces. I went ahead and glued the 2 pieces together with glue, just it's easier to handle. I filed it down smooth so it looks like one piece. Don't have to do that, I just do that. It's one of those neat and tidy things for me. You see this one's already screwed on. I took this one back apart just so you could see it. Spacer's ready to go, the coupler's on. Now on this one I also, just for your sake, I ground down the ears on the side of the draft gearbox just to show you that once you put the trucks back on here and you get this box in here, your truck's going to hit. Okay, it's not a big deal. Obviously most of these Kadee guys are running big curves. I hope minimum 072. You're not going to body mount couplers, put a truck on here and run 036 curves. It's just not going to happen. I don't know why you would want to, but you notice they do hit. They will still make an 072 curve, no problem. They will even go tighter than that. And you don't have to knock those ears off. I just did to show you. You can gain a little bit more side-to-side clearance for a little tighter curve if you need to. I normally don't do that because all mine are 072 or bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this. I touch everything up with some black paint so it's not stark white. Where we cut the bolsters off, I'm going to touch that up so it's not bright shiny silver. Another one of those things you don't have to do. I just do it. And then once I get it all back together, we'll double check the trip pins, the height, and we'll put it on the scale and see where we come out at after we cut all that metal off. Okay, so we're all back together. You don't see any shiny white shims. The trucks were painted where I cut it up. Nothing shiny there, no white pad. Even where I file the face of the coupler, the draft gearbox down, that's all been touched up, so it's all black, it's ready to go. Maybe one of these years I'll get around to weathering this thing. I double checked with the Kadee height gauge, the trip pin on both ends, the knuckle height, everything's perfect, it's good to go. Let's throw it on the scale real quick and see where we come out. Turn the scale on. And remember, this thing is supposed to weigh about 18 ounces. It's a 13-inch car. 5 ounces plus 13, 18. So we got 16, 18 and a half. by cutting off the lobster claws, we gained, well, we lost about an ounce, so we're right where we should be. We're a little bit over, but that's good enough in my book. It's ready for the layout. Kadee couplers, correct weight. I threw a little oil on the axles so it will roll freely. And for now, it's going to go in on the shelf. These are obviously two different era freight cars, but you can see how close it brings the cars by converting them. Not to mention you don't have that big ugly lobster claw in there. It isn't for everybody. Some people live and die by the lobster claw. Hey, that's fine. This is what I prefer. And I just wanted to show you how to convert your cars to Kadee couplers. It's not that hard once you learn how to do it. Get your own techniques developed. Have your tools handy. Your supplies, your screws, your shims, your spacers, everything. You can knock this out pretty quick. And I think you'll enjoy three-railing a lot better with Kadee couplers. Thanks for watching. I got to figure out what we're going to convert next.